What's going on, guys? UFC 314 recap and breakdowns. We're going to be going over every single fight on the card. And yeah, it was a pretty sick event. A lot of fun finishes, a lot of good scraps. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Nora Cornell versus Haley Cohen. Not really much to say here. I got my prediction right. Haley Cohen gets a takedown in the first round, kind of just controls Nora. And I was getting a bit worried because Haley Cohen was showing some good wrestling, some good top pressure. But second round, Nora Cornell gets aggressive, lands some good shots in the clinch, and they end up on the ground, and Nora Cornell chokes her out. So yeah, good win for Nora Cornell. Nora Cornell gets a really good rear naked choke finish. She is dangerous in this division, definitely, but I see a lot of holes in her game. She gets taken down pretty easily. When she gets on the ground, she does kind of struggle to get back up, especially against Haley Cohen, who is not really the highest level opposition. She called out Aylin Perez. I don't know if she beats Aylin Perez. I'm not gonna lie. Aylin Perez has the wrestling and the top control. So I don't know. I feel like she'd just take Nora Cornell down, but who knows? Could be an interesting fight. And yeah, Nora Cornell, she's dangerous, but she does lack some key factors to be a top MMA fighter. So yeah, pretty much all there is to say about this fight. Let's move on to the next one. Trayshawn Gore versus Marco Tulio, one of my locks of the card. I got all three of my lock picks right, so I'm happy about that. We did pretty good on picks overall on this card. Spoiler alert, I went 8 out of 13, so not the best, but pretty solid. I'm pretty happy about it. But yeah, anyways, Trayshawn Gore versus Marco Tulio. I knew Marco Tulio's striking was going to be levels above. His striking is so crisp and so clean. He landed 127 strikes within like 2.5 rounds. Like, that's insane. 2.5 rounds, 127 significant strikes landed. This guy was just styling on Trayshawn Gore, spinning attacks, nasty right hands, pullback counters, 1, 2, 3 combos, jabs, everything. This guy was piecing up Trayshawn Gore, picking him apart. Gore did land a really nice shot in the first round, which rocked Marco Tulio, but Tulio got right back up, kept throwing back, and honestly, props to Trayshawn Gore. He's really tough for taking all those punches, but he does eventually get dropped and put down and finish. So yeah, great win for Marco Tulio. He's one of the more patient, technical guys at the shoot to box gym. A lot of those guys are just kind of wild and aggressive, where they run forward with their chin up in the air and they just get outstruck because they don't really have the most they don't have the most technical approach to the game. But Marco Tulio is a lot more technical than most of those guys. He actually stays composed, throws proper shots, picks his shots well, and that makes him really dangerous, man. And I'm assuming he has a ground game as well. So Marco Tulio, man, I could definitely see this guy ranked in the future. 100%. This guy's going to be a problem for this division. Marco Tulio puts on a show, one of the best performances of the night, and he didn't get a performance bonus, which is wild. They give the performance bonuses to Lopez, Volk, and Patty, and Gene Silva, the guys who don't really need it. Gene Silva might, but come on, like Patty's got tons of money. Volk and Lopez already had tons of money. Like, come on, like give Tulio a bonus, man. That was a sick performance. But yeah, Marco Tulio styles on Trayshawn Gore. Honestly, next for Marco Tulio, there's a lot of fun fights with Marco Tulio. I don't think we should give him any wrestlers yet. I don't want to see him against anybody who's just going to pressure wrestle, hold him against the cage, smudge him on the floor. I want to see this guy in striking battles so we can like build up his resume, give him some highlight reels, promote him. Because this guy has superstar potential written all over him. I have a lot of faith in Marco Tulio. I think he can go big in this division. And yeah, let's just give him some strikers that he can have really fun fights with, some scraps, some highlight reel KOs. And yeah, Marco Tulio, I think he should fight in his next fight, Marc-Andre Barriault. I want to see Marco Tulio versus Marc-Andre Barriault. It's a fun match. Marc-Andre Barriault is a scrapper. He moves forward, he marches forward. He can be KO'd, but he can also be durable at times. You have to have some power to KO Marc-Andre Barriault. And I think Marco Tulio could KO Marc-Andre Barriault pretty easily. I think he'd march forward, style on him, and maybe get like a highlight reel KO on him. So yeah, I think that's a perfect way to build up Marco Tulio. Give him a good highlight reel against Marc-Andre Barriault. And yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Sumadarji versus Mitch Raposo. I'm not really sure why this was a split decision. I thought Sumadarji won it pretty clearly. Mitch Raposo didn't really get any takedowns, and the takedowns that he did get, Sumadarji pretty much got right back up instantly, and he was doing more damage in the clinch, outstriking him from range, beating up the legs. Yeah, not really much to talk about in this fight. Pretty uneventful performance from both, but Sumadarji clearly gets the win. He outstrikes Mitch Raposo. Yeah, Mitch Raposo, man, he just isn't what people thought he was. He had a split decision. I threw up quotations when I said that because should not have been a split decision. He clearly lost Andre Lima. And another fight where he loses by split decision, but it should have been a clear unanimous. I thought Sumadarji could have won 3-0. I'm not even going to lie. But yeah, Sumadarji gets the win. Mitch Raposo, I don't know what you do with him. I don't know if he's UFC level. Like, yeah, it says on paper he had a split decision with Andre Lima and a split decision with Shuma Darji. So on paper these are close fights, but in reality both of them should have been unanimous. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe cut Mitch Raposo. He isn't really that entertaining. He kind of just circles around, looks for his takedowns, and doesn't really seem to be that good at getting them. So yeah, cut him I guess. As for Suma Darji, I don't know if he's going to stay at flyweight. This guy's a huge feather, or this guy's a huge flyweight. I could really see this guy moving up to bantamweight. He's listed at 5'8". I think he's closer to like 5'10". I'm not going to lie to you, but dude, Sumadarji, Sumadarji's a fun fighter, man. I like Sumadarji. He's a cool guy. He puts on fun fights. This wasn't one of his best performances of all time, but it wasn't completely boring. There was a little bit of action, but I don't know, probably the least eventful fight on the entire card. So yeah, I think next for Sumadarji should be maybe like a Felipe Bunez, maybe Loner Kavanagh versus Sumadarji. That'd be pretty sick. But yeah, uh, nothing really else to say about this fight. Let's move on to the next one. Cedricus Dumas versus Mikhail Alekseychik. I picked Mikhail as a lock via first round TKO, and he gets it done via first round TKO. I get my lock pick right. He just he just walked forward and knocked Cedricus Dumas out exactly how I said it was going to go. Dumas is chinny, not the most durable fighter, slow on the feet, sloppy striking, leaves his chin in the air. Mikhail marches forward, swings and lands with like his forearm kinda, and puts Dumas down with his forearm, and then ground and pound TKOs him. Cedricus was like complaining about the stoppage, but I don't know. Most fighters are gonna complain about TKO stoppages. It is what it is. They want to keep fighting. They don't want to lose, but that was not an early stoppage. Cedricus was not moving, not defending. He was just getting hit with multiple ground and pound shots. So yeah, not an early stoppage. Mikhail Alekseychik gets the win, first round TKO. And yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. I'm not even going to spend too much time on this fight. This was the stupidest fight of all time. I'm not even going to lie. Darren Elkins looked like a slow sloth, and he looked like he shouldn't have even been in a cage. And Julian Erosa also looked pretty slow. And I don't know, this just looked like two unks fighting at a retirement home. Like, both of them looked slow. They both looked fucking. I don't know, it was just weird. It was just a really slow, sluggish performance. It looked like two skinny heavyweights, like, going at it. Like, they were so slow. All their shots were just so telegraphed, and it was just slow. It was just a slow performance, especially from two featherweights. Like, come on. But yeah, Julian Erosa gets it done. First round TKO. Beats the shit out of Darren Elkins. Darren Elkins should not have been in a cage tonight. He needs to retire from fighting. He cannot fight anymore. And yeah, seems like he's going on a Tony Ferguson downhill. And Julian Erosa is the start of it, because that was bad. Like, Darren Elkins literally had nothing for Julian Erosa. The first shot that he got hit with, literally the fight starts, the first shot that Erosa hits Elkins with, Elkins goes down. Like, holy shit, Elkins needs to retire after that. Honestly, Erosa should be cut. I'm not even gonna lie, that was a terrible performance. But yeah, both of them look slow, both look sluggish. This was more of just a comedic, funny fight. I was laughing the whole time. So yeah, Julian Erosa gets it done. Let's move on to the next fight. Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. Chase Hooper gets the win as I predicted. He didn't get the submission, but he did dominate with the grappling. Took Jim Miller down, took his back, and just out-grappled him completely. 10 minutes of control time compared to Jim Miller's 1 minute and 30 seconds. Yeah, just complete domination from Chase Hooper. He was throwing some decent ground and pound shots too, and he was getting the back, putting his hooks in. There were some really fun, entertaining scrambles in this fight. There were some really weird, like, entanglements between these two, but I don't know. Jim Miller stayed in there, didn't get finished, so props for him. But yeah, Chase Hooper just dominated with the grappling. Almost got him in like a calf slicer of some sort. Then like fucking banana splitted him or whatever the fuck, and then put him in like some other weird shit. I don't know. Chase Hooper's grappling is really good. To dominate Jim Miller on the ground like that is very impressive. Even if he didn't get the submission, he dominated him with the grappling, controlled the shit out of him, and took him down pretty much at will. So yeah, good win for Chase Hooper. I could honestly see this guy in the rankings. I think on the ground, he gives every single fighter in this division a problem. I'm not even going to lie to you. So yeah, good win for Chase Hooper. And yeah, I get my lock pick right. And he puts on a good performance. Let's move on to the next fight. Verna Yandaroba versus Yan Xiaonan. This is where my picks started going a little bit downhill. My first wrong pick of the night. I picked Yan Xiaonan. I thought she was going to be able to defend enough of the takedowns, outstrike Verna on the feet, land the bigger, better shots. She did outland Verna, but it wasn't enough. Verna got the takedowns and was able to control Yan Xiaonan on the ground. Got really close to a couple of submissions, but Yan got saved by the bell a few times. A couple really close arm bars, but yeah, Verna Yandaroba gets it done. She's not beating Zhang Weili. she's not beating Zhang Weili, easy as it is. It's like if that fight gets made next, that's the easiest prediction of all time. Zhang Weili's a lock. She's not losing to Verna Yanderova. What is Verna gonna do? She's too slow on the feet for Weili. Weili's gonna be piecing her up from range, and on the ground, Weili's got better wrestling, way better cardio, 5 round experience. Verna is just cooked. I don't think she's ready for Zhang Weili. That performance against Yan Xiaonan just kind of proved it. Couldn't hang on the feet with Yan Xiaonan, and Weili is equally as good of a striker, if not maybe even slightly better. I'd say better with the kicks, not as good with the boxing though. But yeah, I don't know. I think she's just gonna piece up Verna Yanderova and probably get a late finish. But yeah, Verna Yanderova gets it done over Yan Xiaonan. Impressive performance. Her grappling looked good, but I don't know. Yan Xiaonan has always kind of just been kind of bad off of her back. She's good at initially defending the takedown, but when she gets taken down, she kind of does struggle to get back up to her feet, I noticed. But yeah, she's a really good boxer, really good striker, but it wasn't enough. She did outland Verna Yanderova, but Yanderova just got the takedowns, attempted submissions, got really close to them, and just dominated Yan Xiaonan on the ground. Got a 30-27 on all 3 judges' scorecards. And yeah, a good win for Verna Yanderova. She's not beating Zhang Weili. Sorry, I'm just telling you how it is. Zhang Weili's gonna piece her up from range, out volume the shit out of her, and out wrestle her as well. Verna Yanderova does seem to struggle when she gets taken down offensively, and that's exactly what Weili's gonna do. Weili's not getting subbed either. So yeah, that's an easy title defense for Zhang Weili. Who knows though? Maybe if Valentina Shevchenko beats Manon Fiorot at UFC 315, maybe Weili moves up. Who knows? But yeah, good performance from Verna Yanderova. She will lose to Zhang Weili next. Let's move on to the next fight. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. I picked Sean Woodson to win this fight by decision, and he was on his way to win. Well, I thought he was on his way to winning this fight by decision. I looked at the scorecards after, and we'll get to that in a minute. First, I want to talk about the stoppage. So round 1 and 2, I'm pretty confident that Sean Woodson is up 2-0. He's just outlanding Dan Ige, landing good leg kicks, landing these shots from range. Ige's missing like most of his shots. He's landing at like a 20% fucking striking rate. Fucking landing most of his shots on the shoulders. And Woodson's kind of just outlanding him from range. And then round 3 happens. Ige clips him with a big shot. Woodson gets wobbled. He kind of moves backwards a bit. He recovers. He shoots a desperation takedown. Ige hits a couple hammer fists on him. Woodson is standing back up. And then the ref calls it while Woodson is standing back up. That was one of the worst stoppages of all time. Like, genuinely the worst stoppage I've ever seen in UFC history. Why was that fight stopped? Woodson was nowhere close to being a finished fighter. Could Dan Ige have went on to actually put him out, like, a couple seconds later? Sure, he could have. But he didn't. That's the thing. Like, oh, it's so stupid, these early stoppages. Like, it actually pisses me off. And it's not even like it matters either, because we'll get into the scorecards now. I thought Sean Woodson was clearly up 2-0. He was landing the better shots. Ige was pretty much just landing on the shoulders. Woodson was doing a good job evading. He was tapping at the legs. He was just landing better shots. I looked at the scorecards after this fight. Ige was up 2-0 on every judge's scorecard. Ige wasn't landing shit. What the fuck was Ige landing? Round 1, Sean Woodson led to 26 significant strikes. Ige led to 9. Ige was landing at a 24% striking rate. Woodson was landing at a 50%. That round was clearly Sean Woodson's. Round 2, definitely a closer round. Both of them were landing at a 36% rate, but Woodson was outlanding him 18-15. And most of Ige's good shots were to the body. Woodson was landing more to the head, snapping jabs. His jabs were snapping Ige's head back. He was landing good to the legs too. And then round 3, like, I thought, oh, he might lose round 3. He's getting clipped a lot, but he's going to win the first 2 rounds, right? Nope. Somehow the judges had Ige up 2-0. If it was 1-1, they gave Woodson the first and Ige the second, I wouldn't have even been mad at that. And then Ige wins like a 29-28 anyways. But the fact that Ige was about to win a 30-27 is insane. I thought Woodson was clearly up 2-0. Could maybe argue 1-1, but I thought Woodson won the first 2 rounds pretty comfortably. I don't know, that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. You know, just the fact that Ige was not winning that fight, but they were going to rob Woodson anyways, regardless. But yeah, it's what happens in MMA. That's why you can't bet on the sport. Not only was there a terrible early stoppage, the scorecards were also rigged. So yeah, Dan Ige gets the win. Not taking anything away from Ige. I like Dan Ige. It's good to see him get a win, but don't really know if he fully deserved to get that stoppage. So yeah, Dan Ige gets it done. Let's move on to the next fight. Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. Reyes is back. Holy shit. No, Reyes isn't back. He's just better. Like, holy shit. Reyes. I picked Krylov by first round KO. Krylov's super durable, never been KO'd before, other than a ground and pound TKO in 2013 in his UFC debut. Boo-hoo. Never been KO'd like that before. And, he has the grappling threat, super dangerous on the feet. Reyes is chinny. I thought this was a no-brainer. Krylov's just going to catch him eventually. But no, he runs forward with his chin in the air, and Reyes lands a nasty Conor McGregor-style pullback left hand, I believe it was, and just knocks Nikita Krylov out cold. Like, badly. Like, Nikita Krylov was out cold, sleeping on the floor, and Reyes gets it done. So, damn. Not even mad at this. I'm not even mad I got this pick wrong. Sick KO. Dominic Reyes is back in the mix. And I think next for Reyes, I want to see Dominic Reyes take on Alexander Rakic. That's what I want to see. Reyes took, no damage in this fight. Rakic will probably be ready to come back soon. I think it's a winnable fight for both guys. Reyes, I think he's faster. I'd give the slight speed advantage to Rakic. I'm not even going to lie. Rakic is very fast. He's one of the fastest light heavyweights. And he's got a dangerous kicking game. He could cause some serious problems for Dominic Reyes, but Reyes has more power in the hands. He's got better boxing. Maybe he cracks Alexander Rakic. It'd be interesting to see if Rakic can mix in takedowns because he's a good wrestler. I don't know, that'd be a really interesting matchup. Dominic Reyes versus Alexander Rakic. That'd be super, super interesting. Honestly, right now, I'd probably slightly lean Dominic Reyes because I just don't think Rakic has the power in his hands to put away Dominic Reyes. You need to be a hard hitter, like a prime Jan Blachowicz, Ryan Spann, or like a Yuri Prohaska to put Dominic Reyes out. All those guys have way more power in their hands than Rakic. I could see Rakic catching him with a head kick, putting him out, but I don't know. Rakic, he's got a strong kicking game. He's very fast. He's explosive. But right now, I'm leaning Dominic Reyes. I think Reyes could knock Alexander Rakic out. I don't know. Reyes is just really good. He always has been really good. It's just the chin has always been like a bit of an issue. But I think hopefully his chin has recovered. I really don't want to see Reyes go out cold again. And I think if he does lose any of his next fights, he's probably going to retire and hang it up. But yeah, great win for Dominic Reyes. He gets the KO. As for Nikita Krylov, I would like to see Nikita Krylov take on Bogdan Gushkov. I think that makes sense rankings-wise. And I don't know, I think Krylov probably wins that, to be honest. I just don't rate Bogdan Gushkov that highly. So yeah, Krylov probably wins that. But yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva, probably my most anticipated fight on the card. There was a bunch on this card that I was super hyped for, but this is the one that everybody was waiting for. And did it deliver? Yes and no. It delivered in a sense that Gene Silva is legit, and he put on a really fun fight. First off, I just want to say he ninja choked Bryce Mitchell, which is disgusting. That was nasty. Nasty submission from Gene Silva. Great performance. He looked like he was toying around with Bryce Mitchell in there. First round, they were going at it. Bryce Mitchell was tapping low kicks. Silva was waiting, looking for his openings. Bryce Mitchell was hitting a lot of leg kicks, hitting a lot of good shots. Gene Silva tries to go for some spinning wheel kick, misses. I thought Bryce Mitchell won the first round. He gets the takedown, controls him for a bit. Almost gets guillotined, but he ends up getting out of it, thankfully. That would have been disgusting if he got guillotined in the first round by Gene Silva. That would have upset me. But yeah, I gave Bryce Mitchell the first round very slightly, very close round. Second round, Gene Silva's starting to get a bit more aggressive. He hits him with a body kick off the start. I thought he knocked him down, but it honestly looked more like he caught him, and then Bryce Mitchell was moving backwards and tripped over Silva's leg. It looked more like that than a knockdown, but they scored it as a knockdown anyway, so it is what it is. But yeah, Gene Silva, he tells Bryce Mitchell to get back up. They keep striking. He hits Bryce Mitchell with a clean spinning wheel kick, but Bryce stays up. He eats it well. And then Bryce goes for a takedown. Silva tries to get him in a guillotine. He can't get it. And then he goes for a ninja choke, and Bryce goes out. He chokes Bryce Mitchell out. Bryce Mitchell taps, and then Gene Silva lets go, and Bryce Mitchell's out. So yeah, nasty win from Gene Silva. This guy's showing that he's well-rounded. He's explosive. He's dangerous. This guy's a serious problem in the featherweight division. I picked Bryce Mitchell. I thought, Gene Silva, he didn't look amazing on the ground against Charles Jourdain. Bryce Mitchell's way higher level on the ground than Charles Jourdain. I thought he was going to be able to get the takedowns easier, but Gene Silva was locked in. So yeah, great win from Gene Silva. I think next for him should be Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett said he wants to get back in there early. Or Josh Emmett said he wants to get back in there as soon as possible. He said he didn't take any damage against Laurel Murphy. So you know what? He wants to be cocky. Give him Gene Silva. You know, Gene Silva's always been an active fighter. Gene Silva versus Josh Emmett. Make it on like, honestly, you could throw that on like 316 or 317. You could honestly throw like Josh Emmett, Gene Silva as the pay-per-view headliner, or as like the prelim headliner or the main card opener. Gene Silva versus Josh Emmett. You could honestly do that, and I think Gene Silva would finish Josh Emmett. I'm not even gonna lie, but yeah, great win from Gene Silva. Let's move on to the next fight. Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. For those of you who don't know, I'm a big Yair Rodriguez fan. I've always been a fan of him. I really like his style. He's a fun guy. And he gets the win over Patricio Pitbull. He showed levels in this fight. Way better striker. Pitbull just didn't know what to do. He froze up. Couldn't compete with Yair on the feet. And even on the ground, he just wasn't able to get takedowns. He wasn't even really trying. It's like he wasn't doing anything. Like Pitbull literally wasn't doing anything. He was just waiting for Yair to throw and then just wouldn't throw anything back. Like yeah, Yair just went up, kicked the shit out of him, caught him with a really nice question mark kick in the first round, and just beat the shit out of him basically with a pure kicking game. Also dropped him with a right hand in the pocket in the third round, which was really nice. Yair just looks really good in this fight. He looked really composed. He looked really slick with the kicks, and Pitbull looked like he kind of froze up under the bright UFC lights. It's like he wasn't prepared for it. It's also, I know it's not prime Pitbull. Pitbull's like almost 40. Pitbull from 6 years ago would have been a different story, maybe. Yair probably still wins, but yeah, Yair Rodriguez gets it done via a 30-27 unanimous decision. He was even getting takedowns of his own and out grappling Patricio Pitbull and damaging him on bottom. So yeah, Yair Rodriguez gets it done via a 30-27 decision. So yeah, clean win from Yair Rodriguez. I really just like Yair Rodriguez. Like he's one of my favorite fighters. Probably my favorite featherweight. Second favorite featherweight. My favorite featherweight is Doo Ho Choi. Yair is probably my second favorite featherweight though. And yeah, I just really like Yair Rodriguez. And I think next for him, I think him and Diego Lopez in a 5-round fight night main event is the fight to go. The fight to do. I think Yair Rodriguez, Diego Lopez, 5-round fight night main event in Mexico. That'd be sick. And as for Volk, why am I talking about Volk? As for Patricio Pitbull, cut him from the UFC. Just cut him. I have no interest in seeing Patricio Pitbull fight in this organization. He froze up, didn't throw any punches, 17 strikes to 70 strikes. So yeah, Yair Rodriguez was just the better fighter in this matchup. Let's move on to the next fight. Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Holy shit, sick performance from Paddy Pimblett. He showed that he is high level. He showed that he is, one of the best fighters in this division. And yeah, he just beat the fuck out of Michael Chandler. I'm not even gonna lie. Won the first 2 rounds cleanly, and then just beat the living fuck out of him in the third round. Got a ground and pound TKO. Cut Michael Chandler open bad with a knee. Yeah, just a dominant performance from Paddy Pimblett. Y'all aren't ready for this conversation, but he low-key beats Justin Gaethje right now. Like, I'm sorry. If Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje is the next fight that's booked, which I think should happen, that's a good fight, I would pick Paddy Pimblett by submission. Like, let's be real, okay? Let's put our bias for Gaethje aside. Gaethje's a fan favorite. We all love Gaethje. Let's put the bias aside. We watched Justin Gaethje get rugby tackled by Rafael Fiziev and put in a reverse triangle for an entire round. You're telling me Paddy Pimblett couldn't take down Justin Gaethje and put him in some sort of submission? Gaethje has no jiu-jitsu. His takedown defense is okay, but it's not amazing. Pimblett showed in this fight that he has good takedowns. He was able to outmuscle a guy like Michael Chandler, who was definitely stronger than Gaethje, more explosive. And Pimblett showed that he has a really good chin. Michael Chandler clipped him a few times cleanly in this fight. And Michael Chandler's got serious powers, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just overhyping Paddy Pimblett, but after this performance, man, what else can you say? I would legitimately pick him to beat Justin Gaethje by submission. Yeah, Paddy Pimblett versus Gaethje is the next fight to make. So yeah, I don't know, sick fight. Really good performance from Paddy Pimblett. Next for Michael Chandler, if he doesn't retire, which I think he might, but no, he would have retired in the cage. If he doesn't retire, I think next for Michael Chandler should be Grant Dawson. I think Michael Chandler versus Grant Dawson would be an interesting matchup. I don't know. It's an easier fight than Paddy Pimblett. Grant Dawson is just not Paddy Pimblett. Let's be honest. And yeah, I think Paddy Pimblett could do pretty well against Michael. I think Grant Dawson could do well against Michael Chandler. I think he could take him down, show his jiu-jitsu, show his wrestling. But there's also a knockout threat for Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler could knock Grant Dawson the fuck out Who knows? But yeah, good win for Paddy Pimlet. Let's move on to the next fight. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. I picked Diego Lopez via first round TKO, and Volk showed out. I'm happy for Volk, but we got to be honest. Is Volk really the champion? This division is now forever in Ilya's shadow, because Volk just proved that he's still the best featherweight now that Ilya's gone, and he's just going to be forever in Ilya's shadow. Ilya is still the king of this division. If Lopez would have won, then we could have said, oh, Lopez never fought Ilya. Lopez could have beat Ilya. But since Volk won, we just know that Ilya would have beat everybody else in the division, and it's simple as that. But yeah, Volkanovski gets the win. Uh, the scorecards were interesting. One of the judges scored at a 48-47, which is what I had. I gave Volk round 1, 3, and 5, and I gave Lopez round 2 and 4. And then one of the judges gave Volk every round except round 2, and one of the judges gave Volk every round except round 4. So clearly 2 and 4 were swing rounds, and I gave 2 and 4 both to Lopez. I thought he just did more in those rounds, more damage. Round 2 could have went either way, but the knockdown for Lopez is what sold it for me. And yeah, I scored at a 48-47 for Volk. Clean performance, circled the outside, used his jab really well. He was also brawling a little bit in the pocket with Lopez at certain moments, and he was kind of getting the better of those exchanges. But as soon as Lopez landed really clean, he did drop Volk in that second round. I thought Volk was going to get finished, but Volk recovered very well. Volk's always had really good recovery. If you don't put him out cold, you're not going to TKO him. You got to put him out fully, like Ilya and Islam did. But yeah, sick performance from Alexander Volkanovski. This was by far fight of the night. There was a lot of good fights on this card, but this was such a good fight. Absolute back and forth war. Lopez was bringing it in the later rounds. I was right and wrong about a couple things in this fight. I was right about Lopez's cardio being underrated, and he does have the potential to win later rounds. And I proved that I proved my theory by Lopez winning the fourth, pretty comfortably. He won the fourth on 2 of the judges' scorecards, and I agree. I thought he won the fourth. So yeah, I was right about his cardio being underrated, and he can win later rounds. But I was also wrong about him being too dangerous in the early rounds for Volk. Volk won round 1 pretty comfortably. Round 2 could have went either way, but I gave it to Lopez. And yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I was right about his cardio being underrated, and he actually doesn't have terrible cardio, and he can go 5 rounds and still keep up in the 4th and 5th. But I was wrong about the first 2 rounds being too dangerous for Volk. See, my initial thought was, even if Lopez doesn't get the KO in the first round, he would hurt Volk bad, win the first 2 rounds. He would be too explosive, too aggressive for Volk in those rounds. Volk would get hurt. Then maybe Volk wins round 3 and 5, and then Lopez could steal the 4th, which he did. He stole the 4th. Well, he didn't even steal the 4th. He just won the 4th. He backed Volk up and landed the better shots. But yeah, in my head, I thought round 1 and 2 he's going to be too dangerous, and then he's going to steal either 3, 4, and 5 with some big shots. And I was half right, half wrong. He stole he stole the 4th round, won one of the later rounds, so I was right about that. But wasn't too dangerous in the early rounds. Couldn't really catch Volk until the last minute of the second. So yeah, good performance from both fighters. Diego showed out. He was a tough out. He had Volk backing up completely. Volk did not really want to engage in those later rounds. He was just backing up, circling, using the jab. I do think when Volk retires, Lopez will be the champion in this division. I do think that. His takedown defense looked really good in this fight. Volk only got 1 takedown. And I think he beats every single other fighter in this division. I think after this performance, I would pick him to beat Movsar Evloev. I'd pick him to beat Laurel Murphy. I'd pick him to beat whoever else in the division that steps up now that Ilya is gone. So I do think once Volk retires, Lopez is going to win the belt. And I think next for Lopez, though, should be Yair Rodriguez in a main event. Maybe in Mexico, maybe not. I don't know. Fight night main event. Yair Rodriguez versus Diego Lopez, 5 rounds. That'd be an absolute sick matchup. I honestly don't know who I'd root for in that matchup. I really like both fighters, 2 of my favorite featherweights. I'd probably slightly lean... For my pick, I'd probably pick Lopez. I think if I had to do a prediction on that fight, I'd go with Diego Lopez to win. But I'd probably be slightly rooting for Yair Rodriguez. I do think I'd like Yair Rodriguez more than Diego Lopez, so I'd be a bit split. I'd be rooting for my pick to lose, but I also want to get my pick right. So I don't know. I'd be back and forth on that, but I would pick Diego to win, but I'd probably be rooting for Yair, but either or, I'd be happy with either one winning. So yeah, that'd be a really fun fight. What's next for Volk? If Volk doesn't retire, which he didn't, he would have retired in the cage. Volk's a legend. If Volk decides to stay around, I think next for him should be Movsar Evloev. I think he beats Movsar Evloev comfortably. What the fuck is Evloev going to do? If he stays on the feet with Volk, he's getting picked apart and just outvolumed and beat up. And on the ground, honestly, I just think Volk would out wrestle Movsar. Movsar's wrestling has not been that impressive in his career. He's had close fights with Arnold Allen, got out grappled with Aljamain Sterling. I thought the Arnold Allen fight was a robbery, and Aljamain Sterling fight could have went either way. He got out grappled in that fight by Aljamain Sterling. I know Aljo's a good grappler, but like, I don't know. Volk's good. Volk's really good. I think he beats Movsar really comfortably. I think he's a stylistic nightmare for Movsar. But yeah, I think he fights Movsar next, and then if he wins that, he ties Jose Aldo for title wins in the featherweight division, which he's already the GOAT, but that would just solidify him as the GOAT. And honestly, hear me out. If Volk passes Jose Aldo in title wins, let's say he beats like Movsar and then Lerone Murphy or someone gets a title shot and he beats them, and then Islam Makhachev moves up to welterweight and wins the welterweight belt and becomes a double champ, Islam Makhachev and Volkanovski are number 1 and 2 all time in the UFC history. They are. If those two events happen, if Volk passes Aldo in title wins, and Islam wins a second belt at welterweight, it's you can't argue with that. They're number 1 and 2 all time, definitely, 100%. Islam Makhachev, Alexander Volkanovski, the number 1 and number 2 greatest UFC fighters of all time. They passed Jones and GSP. But yeah, enough yapping. Let's move on to the official recap. 8 out of 13 on picks. I'm happy with that. Not bad at all. Fight of the night, easily Volk versus Lopez, 100%. Sick back and forth scrap. It was an absolute war. And best finish, Reyes versus Krylov. He should have got a performance bonus for that. Krylov, who's never been finished. Reyes was the underdog. A flatline KO as the underdog against a guy who's never been KO'd like that. That's fucking... If that's not 50K worthy, then I don't know what is. I'm really surprised Reyes didn't get a bonus. But yeah, really fun card. Super sick fights. A lot of fun finishes. A lot of fun scraps. And, hopefully 315 is the same, because looking at that card, the name value ain't looking too amazing. But hey, there's a few good fights on that card. But yeah. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys in the next one. I might have a different video out next weekend because there's no card next weekend for UFC. There's the next card is the next weekend after that. So I don't know, maybe I'll have like a different video up for you guys. I don't know. But I'll figure that out when the time comes. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. See you guys in the next one. Peace.